Hey y'all, welcome back to our very bookish channel, and welcome to an ARC review for Dig by J.H. Markert.
Hey guys, it's Jen and welcome to our ARC review of J.H. Markert's newest horror novel, Dig. ARC being advanced reading copy, and both of us got electronic reading copies, and I used my tablet to read this. I was very excited to read this. I know Amanda as well was very excited to get an early copy of this. We are going to be releasing this on the publication day, which is March 24th. We have read a lot of J.H. Markert's books. It started with Nightmare Man, and I absolutely loved that one. My favorite is now tied with Dig. Dig is definitely one that I enjoyed a lot. And my other favorite from him is Sleep Tight, though all of them have been enjoyable. He also has one called Mr. Lullaby. He has another book coming out in the fall, but I am unsure if that one is technically a horror book. For Dig, and obviously I'm gonna have it on the screen and not hold up my tablet the whole time, this is about Crow Island, and it's very creepy. I kept getting deja vu from plot elements of this one, and I ended up understanding why at some point in the novel. I don't want to ruin it, but there are definitely elements. If you've read his other books, you will get reminders of those books in this one. I'm not sure if Amanda's going to do a plot synopsis, but we are basically seeing characters 8 years after Jericho, who was young when he ended up murdering a bunch of people on Crow Island. And he was buried on Crow Island. You're getting a hint that because he was buried there, it might be tied to him as to all of the crazy stuff that ends up happening. So we see it from a couple different perspectives. Amy is one of them, Nate is another. They have both lived on this island. They knew each other when they were younger. They come back for several different reasons. And you're starting to see from their perspective the history of the island, as well as a lot of things that are happening now, escalating to some really horrifying situations that they find themselves in. For me, I have recently started reading a lot more of Stephen King. I only have, I think, 4 books under my belt at this point, but I definitely feel there are hallmarks of Stephen King's horror writing in his books. I know that J.H. Markert definitely has Stephen King as a role model for him, so I believe that is why you start to get that kind of element from his books. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel like there's a lot of great character development, and I enjoy the plot a lot. I had given Sleep Tight 5 stars, and I wanted to give this book 5 stars. And I know I said it was tied for both my favorite books by J.H. Markert, but there was one complaint, I guess I would call it. There's one thing that I just wish there was more of. And if I say, then I feel like it's ruining it, depending on how much you have read from J.H. Markert. Because there's something that I just wanted more information that you get in the very last of the book, like the last, I don't know, 20-ish pages. And I feel that unless I'm missing something, I haven't read his other books. You know, it's been a couple years since I've read all of his books. So there could be details in those books that I kind of have the answer to already that I'm just not remembering. But I feel like there was and I got to talk to Amanda about this, but I feel like there was a situation that I felt left hanging and I wanted more information. Unless he's trying to also leave things open for more novels around some of these elements. And that's all I'll say because I don't want to ruin it. I do recommend all of his books. I started with Nightmare Man. I don't know how much it really needs to start there. You could probably read any of his books and then hop around and you would still get references to his other characters. And I feel like Stephen King also does that, which is interesting. But I so enjoy his books that if you like horror or just suspenseful type books, I think these will definitely be for you. I don't want to put his books down because I enjoy them so much. Those are my thoughts around Dig. I'm pretty sure Amanda also enjoyed it because I know she has enjoyed the other ones, and there are so many parallels in my opinion from this book to the other ones, but I still can't wait to hear her thoughts on it.
Y'all, when I got this ebook, I was so excited. I was so excited that I got this arc. It was my number 3 most anticipated release of the year. Jen and I talked at length about those our top 5 most anticipated releases. We also did a short on them, so you can go check those out. But oh my gosh, I was so excited. And y'all, just J.H. Markert is my favorite horror author, and I think the best current horror author. Change my mind. I just love his books so much. They are horror. They're very horror. There's monsters and things that, you know, can't possibly exist. It's very scary things. There is some body horror, disturbing type elements in these books. But y'all, they read like a thriller. They read like a gritty detective style thriller, and I just love that. I just find these books very immersive. Y'all, I feel like I'm there when I read his books. They are not, I mean, there's no possible way they can be real, right? Like they're, you know, you just know it's not real, but it feels real. It feels real when you read them, and I feel like I'm there just observing like what's going on and all the horrifying aspects. Also, I love the creativity that his books bring out. Like, yes, they are very scary, and yes, they are disturbing, like the horror type, disturbing, scary type books. There is some body horror, but they feel just real. They feel like that it could really happen, and I just really like that about all of his books. And just to give a little short summary, this book takes place on an island. It is on an island in the Atlantic Ocean. It's an island in the Atlantic Ocean off of the state of Georgia. And there has been a family that has owned this island for a very, very long time. And it's a mom and dad and 2 twin sisters. The mom, dad, and one of the twin sisters is brutally murdered by a really weird inhabitant of this island. And the sister that survives still lives on this island, and some weird things start happening again. They have like little earthquake tremor type things. They have, people are acting weird. They are literally digging holes in the ground of this island, but also digging into the past and into some of the strange occurrences that has happened before on this island. So it means digging figuratively and literally. I love it when the book ties the title with the story like so well. Like the title is in the story a lot. I love that. I also love the way that J.H. Markert will like shout out his other books in these books. Like the stories are not linked, they're not in the same world, they're not the same characters, nothing like that, but he mentions his other books in the books that he writes. And I don't know why, but when I come across those little nuggets, I'm like, oh, I know that book, I've read that book. Like it just makes me like kind of happy, and I start remembering some of the other stories. For example, in this story, there's 2 characters talking, and the one character is like, have you never heard of the Nightmare Man or Mr. Lullaby? And the Nightmare Man and Mr. Lullaby are 2 of J.H. Markert's books that I've already read. So when that came up in the story, I was like, oh, I've read those books. I know all about the Nightmare Man and Mr. Lullaby. I find that really fun, and it just kind of adds that extra little touch, that extra little layer to the story. So I just can't stop raving about this book. Another reason why J.H. Markert, in my opinion, is the best is because he can really tie up the endings of his books really well. I have found that with a lot of horror books that I read, the authors can write a very interesting story. They can write a very interesting villain or monster or whatever you want to call it. And it can be an exciting story, but it just doesn't wrap up nicely. It's really hard for the author to come up with a ending that answers all your questions and is satisfying. But J.H. Markert does such a good job with his endings of his stories. I find them entertaining all the way up into the end. And once the main conflict is resolved, the book wraps up nicely, and I like that. I don't like an ending of a book where the main conflict's resolved and then you still have another 100 pages to get through. It totally loses my interest at the very end and drags the book down. And J.H. Markert's books stay interesting until the very end. I don't know. I really like the book. I'm giving it probably 4.5 stars. I did like The Nightmare Man. The Nightmare Man's still my favorite. I just think it was my first J.H. Markert book. My mind was blown. I was so just enjoyed that book so much that all his other books I compared to that one. And I probably need to reread it, actually. I probably need to reread The Nightmare Man. Maybe I'll do that this year, because in my mind, that book is just way up here. And the other books can come close, but they're never quite the same. And that may just be because it was the first book of his that I read, so that's sort of the standard. But I'm telling you guys, if you like horror books, definitely need to check out J.H. Markert.
Let us know in the comments if you've ever read J.H. Markert's books or if you're interested in them. I'm very curious to see how many people out there actually read them or if you intend on reading them. Thanks for watching our thoughts on Dig by J.H. Markert. You definitely need to put this on your TBR list, especially if you are a fan of Stephen King or any horror novels. I think these will definitely be up your alley. Thanks for watching, and until next time.